Hello, good people. Welcome to our show. Hello, bad people. Welcome to our show. Hello, guys. Welcome. We don't care about good, bad. I don't know how to choose bad or good, but we care only about skills that you can acquire on this podcast, how you can learn something new. And today we have a special topic about business goals, how you can get sustainability, how you can grow your business, and many other valuable insights. I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Oriane Wiser. How are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm good, and you?
Doing great. Looking forward to learn more. I have my business, and I need this sustainability because in business you can fail, you can get stagnation, many things. But what I found, it's better to have energy. Whatever happens in this life, whatever you can meet, land, any obstacles. If you have energy, you can go ahead. And for me, energy is more important than even getting skills because with energy, you can try one more time, many times. Orion, before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and anything that can help our listeners to learn more about you.
Yes, it's with pleasure. So I'm Oriane Wiser. I'm half French, half American, and I currently live in the Netherlands, where I work for this startup called the Global Sustainable Enterprise System, but also the startup called Data for Good, and they're both focusing on sustainability and impact measurement. And yeah, I've always been interested in sustainability, so I'm really happy to be focusing my job, my daily tasks on that.
Great, great. I was in Netherlands. I like this country, and
Yeah.
I'm interested why you decided to relocate from the US to Netherlands. I know it's a great country, great people, always smiling, smart people, and many of them speak four languages. I love it. So tell why you decided to relocate to this country.
Well, I actually came to the Netherlands for my undergraduate studies back when I was 18, and I really liked it. And then I landed this job during COVID, worked remote, and then my CEO offered me a full time position and said, I mean, if you're happy to move back to the Netherlands, come. And I'm really happy here. I mean, it's winter right now arriving, so kind of doubt your choices. But no, it's a great country to live in, especially in sustainability, tech, and the sustainability world is very, very interesting here.
Awesome, awesome. Arian, for me, happiness is more important than anything else. And I remember I started one business because of chasing money. I felt marketing gap, and uh, I got the feeling I can fill this gap. But during 3 years, I wasted a lot of resources. I hired a big team, and I had the feeling that I hate Monday and love Friday. I got it. I can't go ahead like this. For me, happiness is more important. So I gave up. And for me, it's not a bad idea to give up if you hate it, if you don't enjoy your time. You need to enjoy the process. So when you mentioned that you are happy in Netherlands, it means a lot. I think for sustainability as well. Can you explain this word, sustainability? What it means in business? What kind of sustainability you can help businesses to get?
Okay, so I mean, in business, sustainability is really about making sure that your business model will serve you on the long term and will not jeopardize the environment, as well as social factors, and you have a sound governance structure. So, in that sentence, I put the words governance, social, and environmental, which relates to the famous ESG framework. And this is kind of the framework to measure the sustainability performance of companies, which is what the company I work for, GSCS, does. But sustainability in a business is really yeah, about looking on the long term and making sure that you can make sure that you don't jeopardize the resources, natural resources, so to speak, for future generations, and kind of align with the regulations that are pushing more and more on the protection of the environment and social indicators as well.
And can you tell how to create this loan strategy? Because businesses often chase short income, revenue, but it doesn't work without having loan strategy. Many things are changing, technologies are growing fast, and even AI can surprise me every single day. When I played with this tool, and then I need to adapt fast, and I change my strategy. I have my plan, but I can change it. So can you tell
Yeah.
how to do it? How to change your mind? For example, if I have strategy, looks good, but technologies are growing. I need to adapt this technology, and I can replace old plan with new one. So give more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's lots to unpack for sure. And you're right to say that the real big dilemma in sustainability for corporate sustainability is to shift between short-term profit gains versus long-term looking in the long term and actually investing on a sound sustainability strategy. Sometimes sustainalizing your supply chain, being more sustainable in your procurement is gonna require some cost on the short term, but there's going to be huge gains on the long term. So you need to see it as a cost benefit analysis, but also always kind of we're shifting now in 2023. We're shifting from only looking at cost within a year to kind of cost within a few decades, to also make sure that we achieve some of the environmental goals that the governments have set for us, such as the Paris agreements and so on. So for a company, what really they need to figure out in their strategy is what can they achieve. So come up with a plan, and over the years, because we don't, I mean, whenever we have our clients hopping onto the platform, we try to not overwhelm them. That's the first step when you go into your sustainability strategy, is that you need to think as well in terms of decades and not in terms of a year. And there are so many tools out there, and that's the thing. Getting the right information without spending too much time and spending too much resources, or wasting too much money on establishing your sustainability strategy, and acting on sustainability, because it's good to talk about it, but it's good to walk the talk. So what we do at GSES to help for that is that we actually give you a verified ESG score based on the certifications you already have. Because those certifications and eco labels are already tools that help you assess your sustainability performance. And that can kind of, if you do a 0 point measurement in terms of your sustainability performance, you know where you're at, you know where, and then you define where you want to be in terms of sustainability, and then you have that kind of timeline, and then you're like, okay, what am I going to do in that timeline? I need to reach that target in 2030 or 2035, whatever your target is. That's for you to decide based on the business model you have. Of course, some business model require more time to sustainabilize the whole process, some others less. But what's really important is to figure out where you are, where you need to be. And for that, you do need to do the 0 point measurement and really dive into your KPIs, get all your departments together, depending on the size of the company you are. But of course, the bigger you are, the more challenges you're facing in terms of tracking within your supply chain who is sustainable, who does what, making sure that you keep up with the legislations. And that's, in the end, it can be, I mean, it's definitely a few full-time jobs, and it can be a big hit if you don't actually put time in it and put people on it. And even if it's a cost this year in 2023 or in 2024, then it's going to be huge advantages for the coming years. So it's shifting that kind of approach to business.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, valuable. I want to ask about patience. If you have long plan, it means you need to stick with this plan. It's tough. It's tough because many things, challenges are coming every single day. We need to decide them. How to be patient with your plan? Of course, I want to achieve some growth in decades. I want to go ahead. I have the plan to grow my business, but it's tough for any business owners to stick with one plan. Even short plans I change a lot, and each case is different. For example, I when I create plan, even in marketing, we always change what we created, because uh, I don't know, like we change our minds what we want to achieve. We analyze, we can find new gaps in market and think how we can fill them. Is it good idea to fill them or not, or is it better to skip and focus in our strong sides? Many things. Can you tell about patience? Because people lose patience. I can lose patience as well. If I remember this great book, Atomic Habits.
Hmm.
Um, when
Yeah.
people can't see improvements for a long time. It's like slight process, you can feel them. But if you do it every single day, or in some time, you can improve. And you can measure results in the benchmark and after a few years. So
Yeah.
tell about patience, how to do it.
Yeah, it's a very good. No, it's a very good point. Patience is very important. It's kind of funny because it's not a personal trait I have, but in the business, for sure, we teach. I mean, we enable more patience, especially at GSES on our platform. What we do is we enable third party audits. So just like you were seeing, if you see performance, if you see progress, then you're building onto that patience because you believe in the process. You start believing in the process, and if you believe in the process, it's way easier to be patient about the whole process and achieving that milestone of yours. So what we do, which I guess indirectly feeds into helping people be more patient to achieving their sustainability goals, is annual review, annual auditing on their performance, so you have a clear progress curve. And you can see that there are major differences across the KPIs. We measure on a holistic approach of sustainability, so we don't only focus on carbon. But so, for example, if you do this circular economy pillar, there's going to be some KPIs for circular economy, and then if you have the sustainable procurement pillar, you're going to see that from one year to the next, maybe like 3 KPIs from circular economy and 1 KPI from sustainable procurement. You've made a margin, like a very big difference, and you've achieved a marginalized difference on that performance, that specific performance. And if you see that, I mean, we see it when companies realize that they need to focus on one area, and after focusing on that one area, they actually get rewards, or they get the credits that they have a higher performance in that specific area, whether it's circular economy or CSR or whatever. I mean, that I'm I'm convinced that it helps them be more patient and trust the process of sustainalizing their business.
Yeah, valuable. You mentioned a few times about KPIs. Can you uh, tell how you calculate KPIs or other metrics? Because I know my audience, I know business owners, they want to see numbers, what they can achieve and get. So we need these numbers. Tell your methods how to calculate and how it's accurate during the time.
Yeah, of course. So basically, the key performance indicators that we base our assessments on um, are based on standards, so on internationally recognized standards that measure sustainability. I mean, topics of sustainability. And in CSR, you're going to have KPIs that clearly kind of guide you. It's like we call them KPIs because we measure them across data. But it's similar to KPIs that you would use in a double materiality assessment, for example. So when you measure your performance, you have in those, like in the GSES, what we have is 12 questions in each questionnaire, and there's 6 questionnaires that are we call them pillars as well, that represent the foundation. It's the big foundational sustainability topics, and together the 6, they make that house of sustainability, which is the holistic approach. So each KPI are going to be related to a specific aspect of sustainability, but they're very straightforward. In CSR, you can access everything on our website because all our measurement and assessments are publicly available. We have a technical committee, board of experts that check them every year, and they're always aligned to the internationally recognized standards, because that's the point. We want to be able to create a common understanding on sustainability performance. Now, if we all measure sustainability in a different way, we're never going to get there, and we're not going to be able to benchmark each companies with each other based on sustainability performance. So if you go on our website, you can see all the assessments, but to give you an idea on circular economy, it's going to ask you, do you have a policy on circular economy? What do you put in that policy? And it's is there this and that? Because we make the questionnaire really easy for the members and the companies to fill them out. So it's multiple drop down answers, and you select all the ones that apply, and then you upload in a virtual safe, so fully encrypted. GSES users, no one else except you can access the data. You upload the data that proves, that's the evidence that proves your claims that you made during the questionnaire, during the assessment, and the third-party auditor will cross-check that evidence with the assessment. And then that's it. You have your third-party verified ESG rating, because the platform generates an ESG score based on the results of the auditors.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned many times about your platform, and I want to be honest, I get every single day a lot of requests. I can help to grow your business. Many times my emails, I usually leave them in the spam box because I have no time, to read all these emails. They look like templates. And I think in this niche, you have many competitors. uh, it's tough to trust most of them, but we have some recognized big brands. Can you tell how you stand out from the rest? Okay, you can teach your customers, lead them in the right direction, but why you are better? Why I need, for example, to cooperate with you than with many others? I don't want to touch these emails that I get every single day, but to companies that I can trust, because you mentioned about trust, it's important to trust the process. But why I need to trust your process?
That's a good question. Yeah, so I'll tell you a bit more about our USPs. Of course, I touched upon the third-party verification. So basically, you can think of GSES as an anti-greenwashing layer to your sustainability performance. We ensure trustworthy communication material, which is, when I mean communication material, is for your stakeholders, and it's basically your ESG verified scorecard. And we don't only measure on organizational level, we measure also on product level, which is another big USP of ours, because we unlock the full assessment of a company, including its supply chain, because we can measure the suppliers by onboarding them on the platform and linking that to the buyer, who's usually our initial client. We can even measure their products, all the products that are bought within the supply chain. And then, if you manufacture, if your business model is to sell, if you're a retailer is to sell products, we can give you a measurement on the product. And that's huge, because then that connects to consumers as well. So you're educating your consumers, and you're giving them the option to choose between products with informed, and they can make informed decisions on what to buy, because they have verified and a guarantee on what is in this product, whether it's recyclable, compostable, and so on. So for that, it's an embedded platform, one-stop sustainability platform, third-party verified. And basically, we can work in the entire world, because we have a huge network of third-party auditors that's that's unlocked by our partner Audit Independent, and that allows us to work in more than 110 countries. So in that sense, you are right that we have a lot of competitors, because sustainability is a hot topic right now, but it is necessary that it's out of necessity that it's a hot topic. But we don't really have a competitor per se, because our business model is very overarching. We benchmark more than 550 eco labels. That's another huge USB. And basically ISO standards, eco labels such as fair trade, all of that. We can give you an ESG verified rating. So, and that comes back to the common understanding on sustainability performance that I was telling you about. So basically, you have certifications, or you have like a green key gold as a building. You don't really know why, as a consumer, you don't really know what those certifications mean. You're like, okay, I guess it's green tech, I guess it's good. But then you get confused because there's so many. So like you said before, who do I trust? What certifications do I trust? And this is what our platform helps you identify. Also, what certification gives you what ESG, what is the performance out of those certifications you can extract, and just a whole verification of that process.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of business owners, small business owners, medium size, and for example, big companies. I think all big companies have loan strategy, like Apple, Google. All of them have some
Mm-hmm.
loan plans. For example, Google invests a lot to apps for school students. Um, they don't monetize these apps, but they can grow audience, in school, and to get results when this audience become adult. I want to ask about small business owners. Do they need to create this loan strategy from your experience? Do they can allow to create this strategy, and how to adapt when you compete with big competitors? When I cooperate with many business owners, and for example, once we promoted website in weight loss niche, all competitors were billion-dollar companies, big companies, Shakeology,
Yeah.
many of them, but we found the way how to get our piece of the pie, to get results, to grow traffic from 100K to 700K. I usually help some companies in investing trading niche to compete with billion-dollar companies as well. And but all of that are related to short strategy. Probably
Mm-hmm.
it takes like months, even a few years, not decades. So I want to ask how you can help small business owners to help them in decades.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And actually our tool that's reminding me that you're making me remember that I forgot to say something, because we have a model that actually, of course, is for all organization, but also size wise.
Mhm.
And we can help smaller, like SMEs, let's say small and medium enterprises or companies that operate on a very small scale and have a few FTE. And so for them, like you said, it's very expensive to compete with large businesses, especially to invest in CSR and in sustainability performance reviews and so on. But our model allows for them to actually run assessments that are for them more related to their scale, because you obviously on CSR pillar, for example, you can't, one of the assessment KPI or question is, do you have a CSR policy and do you have a CSR officer? Of course, if you're a large company, it's normal that you would have a CSR officer that make sure that you have a sound CSR policy. If you're an SME, of course not. So you can't expect that from them. And so the assessments are reviewed. So when you enter the GSES platform, your size of the company is actually asked to you, and that will generate an assessment that is slightly different. And then the prices for verification are very, very affordable. And we try to actually universalize the sustainability performance measurement. So we really try to make it as affordable as possible. And that's something that we constantly work on since the start of this company, because the point is to help the big ones, but of course the point is to make sure that everyone has a common understanding on their sustainability performance, and you can't leave the little ones behind for that.
Yeah, valuable. um, Orion, I want to ask about busy people. I'm so busy. For me, it's tough to find time for this podcast. Many things to do, but I love it. I love this experience. I love to learn from great experts like you. That is why I have this podcast. And many can think that I grow my audience. Yeah, I can grow my audience as well. But I have this podcast to learn. It's my first goal. Then
Mhm.
I can create brand awareness, many other things. And you mentioned you teach companies, people to find the right way. Uh, I know from my experience, I need to teach my customers as well. If I see that they have no knowledge or basic knowledge, nothing special, then I usually tell them learn deeply. It doesn't. Any expert can't help you if you have no skills, even basic skills. Then we usually get great results with customers who understand how it works. Um,
Mhm.
I want to ask you how you teach others because according to data, people usually implement 40% of all recommendations. So basically, if someone pays you 100K, 60K can be wasted because of many excuses. Have no time. I need to develop my product. Name them. But tell how you tell importance and provoke to do action. I mean, like to practice what you preach.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a good question. We are not a consulting agency, so we provide help to our clients, but not in a consultation way. In the sense that what we're going to do if we have clients that want to onboard their suppliers because they want to get a deep dive on the sustainability performance of their supply chain, then we're going to help them build a strategy on how to do that. Because when you have a big supply chain, and even if you don't want to target all your suppliers at once. So that onboarding process and that process of sustainalizing your supply chain, that's definitely something we can help on. Now when it comes to an organization or a product, what we can help to achieve better sustainability performance on is really teach a thinking process, because only the answer is only coming from the business owners themselves or people within the business. So we can help with the platform to facilitate assessments and to give them the KPIs and the targets and where they are and what are the targets. We can help them set the targets that would be achievable, and we can generate them verified results on their performance. But at the end of the day, often we have discussions with them, and it's what you see how we help them is more in the thinking process and more in, okay, what am I going to do this year and what am I going to do next year and how am I going to get to the point where I want to be in year X. And this is the whole process we help with.
Awesome, nice. Um, let's talk about one metric that you didn't mention, but I love this metric. You mentioned a lot about measurement, KPI, calculation, but I often rely on intuition. When you have experience, you can use your intuition what you need to do, and of course, it's important to have data to consider data, but intuition for me means a lot, sometimes more than some data. And I remember great example from Jeff Bezos. Once he got a research team, and
Mm,
this team provided a lot of data about new product and
yeah.
asked him to give more time to analyze this product. He denied. He told we have enough data, and this product was Alexa. Almost all homes today in the US have this product,
Mm-hmm.
and Jeff Bezos has this intuition because of great experience. He achieved a lot. Uh, I want to ask you about you. Uh, how to use intuition? Do you use intuition, or you just rely on calculation, data, or how to mix intuition and data?
I mean, I think we're going into a societal question more. I mean, intuition varies enormously, is subject to cultural differences and traditions and your background and what you studied. um my intuition, but my intuition is based on facts a lot, I think. Especially my generation, we've been raised with the idea that the world is crumbling and we need to make sure that we can save future generations so that they have natural resources and so on. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I think that's the only intuition that I keep in the business on my day to day when I speak to clients or when I think of new features and product development. Yeah, I mean, data is not necessarily, it's not the key to success in the sense that it's, but you, if you don't have data, you can't measure, and then you don't know where you are. And once you know where you are through the data, of course you can apply intuition, and of course then you can think, okay, based on like the community we have, the stakeholders we have, what is the best path for us, accounting for sustainability ambition. But of course, whatever your surroundings is telling you, and is pushing you to think about, I guess. um Now, I think intuition, the problem that I have with intuition is that for me, it's a concept that's enormously subjective. And we still have people out there who don't believe in climate change. So I don't want anyone to only stick to their intuition, because if that's their intuition that climate change doesn't exist, or that you shouldn't care about fossil fuel industry, and that you shouldn't care about being a company that's more sustainable, then yeah, then there's not much I can do, but
Mhm.
and I can help with. Um, but yeah, no, it's an interesting, but everything is, it's good to have balance in every aspect of your life, right? So what I want everyone to get from this podcast as well is that of course data is important. But data is not necessarily the key to success. It's how you use the data, and it's how you create a process, a roadmap based on that data,
Mhm.
and maybe a bit of intuition.
Yeah, got it, got it. Um, when I start anything new, I usually fail. Not usually, I always fail. Always. When I start, uh, for example, when I started PR, I wrote a bunch of press releases.
Mm-hmm.
I failed with all of them. I pitched all of them, got zero mentions, links, anything, nothing. And I want to ask about mistakes that companies can get by thinking about sustainability to implement in the process, well working process, if they earn money, good money, have some goals, but they wanna trust the process to get this sustainability. Can you list mistakes that companies can avoid from your experience?
The mistakes in sustainability reporting,
Yeah,
or
in implementation, when
yeah.
yeah, but from your experience, if you see that companies get the same mistakes all the time after implementation.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I think it really depends on the industry. There are some industries that are bound to have obstacles, to face obstacles, that are really bound to their industry. But in a more standard and like universal way, I think the one thing that I want everyone to, all our clients and members to know, is that if you do it fast, then you're not going to go far,
Hmm.
because you really need to pace yourself, and you really need to also set targets that are achievable. And that's why the whole answer from the previous question was, you need the data to make sure that you can set kind of a progress curve that's achievable, because if you don't know where you're at, then you can't measure where you want to go. um but yeah, so the main obstacle and the main point of failure that I can see and that I can give a warning on is really wanting to achieve too much too fast. Also listening to whatever people are saying, so net positive, let's achieve net zero, without even having a sound idea about how to even get to net zero. So it's, yeah, it's kind of like slowing down and making sure that you set up a plan, a strategy. And if you reach that 2 years after you had said so, well, it's fine. Like at least you'll still be sustainable then. And you're still working on it. And it's a slow process. And it demands, also you need to seek out help. You need to talk to all your stakeholders. You can't do it alone. Even if you're a big corp, you really can't do it alone. Legislation is going to come in the way, the community, blah, blah. You need to get recognition and really transparently communicate to your stakeholders. Because that's the most important part of making sure that you achieve a successful sustainability performance results that you want.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Love it. Orion, I wanna ask about you. You mentioned a lot. You share a lot of valuable bombs. You lead me to emergency room. I need to spend time to think how to consume all this valuable data. But I want to ask about you. You mentioned in the beginning of the podcast you are happy in Netherlands. I know from data that 70% of people hate their jobs. It's a lot. Uh, and
Yeah, that's
um,
that's a terrible number.
yeah, terrible number. I agree. And I want to ask your tips how to become happy in your job because I see you're so confident to share these valuable bombs with us. You know this topic, and from my experience, you can't share such valuable insights without happiness, without loving the process, without living what you preach, many different things. And I have students in my network who are looking for ways how to learn from scratch. I have business owners who want to get the basic. I want to ask you, if you started today from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills, it's your first day in sustainability. What will you do today if you start from scratch?
Well, that is a very tough question. Um, what would I do? Am I a business owner?
um you're a student, business owner, you want to learn the basic of this topic. I mean, like,
Ah, yeah, okay.
yeah, it
Get
takes,
educated on the topic. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, depending, I mean, it would depend on where I live, but I guess let's say I live in the Netherlands. I will definitely look into what's happening at the EU level and at the government level, because governments right now are driving sustainability topics and the emergency call to action to act on sustainability for companies. Um, I would read. I would read a lot because I did my studies in climate change and in international development. And my actual expertise background is in sustainable water management. So, and I acquired all that knowledge through going to university, but it was mostly through reading because I was very interested in the topic. Now there is a very good book that I can recommend to people to understand, especially for business owners, but even for students, it would be interesting. It was written very recently by the ex-CEO of Unilever, and it's called Net Positivity: How to Build a Net Positive Business. I can send you the link after. But basically, this ex-CEO of Unilever describes how you build the culture of net positivity within a company. And you can see that there's a lot that relate to everyday life, and it's really has to be driven by true passion. Like you were saying, you need to believe in it. And whatever you do, whatever your job is, if you're happy and if it's something that you really like, then it will be 100 times easier. It's sometimes it's still going to be hard, but it will give you the purpose that you need to feel to keep moving. So yeah, I guess I would say read, get information, watch podcasts. There's so many good podcasts about sustainability. So yeah, just get educated on the topic, and also try to not get too overwhelmed either about there's a lot of greenwashing out there, obviously. It's a big landmark for companies right now to use sustainability claims. So first get educated, so then you understand what is the difference.
Awesome, valuable, inspirational. I love it, love it. And I have my final question about the future. I wanna
Mm.
ask you, take your crystal ball and let us know what kind of future will be, because you mentioned a lot of things that are related to the long process. It takes years, decades to get results, and but things are changing fast. Technologies are growing fast. We have AI. Apple is going to launch augmented reality. I don't know what kind of future will be. We still have time before Terminators will kill all human beings. But I want to ask you your forecast about the future in sustainability.
Well, I hope it's going to be a bright one. I want to stay positive, because that's the field where sometimes when you read the news, you're like, wow, we're probably never going to make it. And I was at Amsterdam International Water Week this weekend, and the last day of the conference, they put this video, and the title is "Sorry to the Next Generation," and it's this poet that is kind of doing a slam um, on an apology, giving an apology to the future generations. I hope in my crystal ball, at least what I want to see is that we don't have to apologize to the next generations, that we actually pulled ourselves together and actually achieved the milestones that we had set in terms of sustainability performance. And I don't only talk on business level, of course. This is for governments as well. Every state needs to help each other. The COP is coming soon, and it's hosted in Dubai, but this year. But it's really important that we stay positive and we just do our part. It's important that everyone kind of walk the talk. I think it's not only up to businesses. Of course, businesses drive the industry, and they are responsible for a lot of consumption and so on. But yeah, it's up to everyone. It's up to the society, it's up to the governments, up to everyone. So I do hope that for the future that I envision, we don't have to apologize to next generations, and we have a more circular business, and we kind of slow down in terms of overconsumption and so on.
Yeah, great. Okay, next generation. Don't blame us. We are not going to apologize for
But
anything.
I hope we don't have to, is the thing.
So you don't need to blame us, you know. Yeah, Orion, it's a big pleasure to get on my show. I love it. So valuable. I'm going to learn more about sustainability. I like it. I need to think how to implement to my strategy. Uh, Tell the best way how to keep learning from you, how to reach out to you, how to follow you.
Well, I mean, I think you put my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good point where to start. Other than that, my GSES email. I can also put it on the post, but it's I'm reachable on there. It's Oriane at gses-system.com. But yeah, LinkedIn, you can reach me on there all the time.
Awesome. Awesome. Guys, you can find the link to LinkedIn account in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. Love it. So valuable. I think generation can think about blaming others, but existing generation can learn a lot and think
Yeah.
how to adapt and implement everything that you preach. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. You can reach out to Orion, you can reach out to me and ask more questions about this topic. Love you. See you.